Join us on the last bus home.
No matter how hard you go at it, it won't break.
Never breaks.
Never breaks. Unbreakable, you could say.
I'm going to be honest, I didn't really come for health tips.
All right, very well.
I'd like something a bit more on the paranormal spectrum if you do, Mr. Wilson.
Let's go for it. This is the Nameless thing of Berkeley Square.
Ooh, where's Berkeley Square?
It's in London.
London, right, okay.
Yeah. What I'll do, I'll just go out with like the rumours of how it all started, and then we'll go through it and we'll see what you think.
Sounds good.
So, in the early stages, we've got Berkeley Square. It's just a comfortable area of London. It's just a nice little comfortable neighbourhood. Nothing particularly odd about it. It's just a nice area of London. Number 50 in particular is where these things took place. Just a respectable sort of townhouse, and with no signs of like tragedy or strangeness. It was just a normal house, pretty much in Berkeley Square. But over time, some kind of unsettling stories started to circulate. Let's say rumours. Some of these rumours were there was a child murdered there. A servant supposedly snapped and killed the child in their care. Sorry, they didn't snap and kill the child. They snapped and killed the child. Sorry. Or they might have snapped it and killed it. I don't know. That'd probably kill a kid as well. But no motive was ever agreed on. So that's more of a classic reason for a haunting, a classic backstory right there. Then we've got also the attic boy. We've got a son who was driven mad and locked away by his ashamed family and fed through a hole in the door until he died alone in the dark.
I love that. I mean, I don't love that for that kid, but I love anything where it's like something's in the attic. Shout out to our attic and basements episode. Check that shit out. But something in an attic scares the hell out of me. Do you know, like when you was a kid, you always had like kind of memories of like being laid in bed and then hearing something, which was probably like in England, it'd be like a mouse or something. But yeah, terrifying.
Or a mongoose
called Jeff.
But yeah, I'm thinking in years gone, it might have been more of a common practice than we like to think, is stashing away family shame.
Yeah, totally.
Especially in the Victorian times when your outward image was more important than your family loved ones.
That's where all the pedo uncles end up back in the day. Now they're just left to roam at birthday parties and stuff.
Exactly. So, yeah, it was. I think it was just a thing to lock away a particularly ugly kid or whatever.
Ooh, gruesome. I know where I'm
Yeah. So anyway, that was another reason for the haunting at Berkeley Square, and then another theory was, which is the most, I wouldn't say famous, but the most popular reason was a young woman abused by her uncle who leapt from the highest window to escape him.
That's quite dark.
That is dark, since you were just talking about weird uncles.
Exactly. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. But none of these stories are supported by evidence, but they did spread through the neighbourhood like wildfire anyway. So the house ended up with a reputation of being haunted and spoken, whispered about by locals, and obviously kids would make it a point of avoiding it and daring each other to go and knock on door and stuff. But essentially, none of it's substantiated. So, but every tale does end with the same thing, which is it ends with a dead child, boy or girl, that has returned as a shadowy figure, or a brown drifting mist haunting anyone who dared to live there.
Whoa, a brown mist. I know what that leads
Dirty
to.
bubble.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, yeah. So we're going to jump to 1840 now. And this is like the first death attributed to it. So in 1840, the stories were still considered fireside entertainment until Sir Robert Warboys entered the picture. So he's heard these stories and he's like, I'll settle it. So him and his friends were drinking in the local pub. I couldn't tell you what pub it is. But they were swapping the latest rumours about number 50 Berkeley Square. And Robert dismissed the tales as nonsense and calling it all childish superstition. So he was having none of it and he was all beard up. So he's there with his Dutch courage, quite possibly swearing at people and what have you, like we do. And after several pints, someone dared him to spend the night in the house to prove it wasn't haunted. And we've all seen how that goes.
Yep.
Never well. So, emboldened by his alcohol and pride, Robert accepted the dare and made his way over to number 50 and took it from there. So he went straight there from the pub as well. And yeah, he was like, right, I'm going to sort this out now.
What?
I'm going to go next week. I've got like next Saturday off. I'll do it then. He's like, I'll do this right now.
There couldn't be a better time. Like when I'm sat alone at night watching Bizarre Bub and I scare the hell out of myself with the top 10 ghost sightings caught on camera, there's never been a time when I'm pissed up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's never been a time when I'm pissed up and I'm like, oh, I'm sure I'll be scared of a ghost right now. Perfect time to do it. Get liquored up, get in that haunted house. And I bet he was in there and he was like, come on, Ed, who wants some? Do you know, in true Brit style?
Oh, yeah. I mean, beer to a Brit, that makes you stronger, faster, taller, better looking, more intelligent. And, you know, there's names for people who get all fighty and brave when they've had a beer. We could call them a Toucan Van Damme.
Nice.
Or maybe a Drambo.
Nice.
You know?
Either way.
Tin Tyson. Yeah.
Either way, he ain't afraid of no ghost.
No. And if you can give a ghost a black eye, he's getting it.
Go on, lad. Chin them.
So, anyway, this very British Brit, tanked up, still drunk, persuaded the landlord to let him stay at 50 Berkeley Square. So the landlord agreed, but only under two strict conditions. And that was Robert must ring the servant's bell if he saw anything unusual, which was a bit of a rubbish condition because he was there to see something unusual or to disprove unusual things. And the other one was he must keep a pistol with him at all times. Okay. So Sir Robert, he assumed this was all theatrical and dramatic and just intended to kind of frighten him more than anything. But the landlord actually provided him the pistol himself, which suggested, you know, genuine concern. It's not like he recommended he bring his firearm with him. He said, I've got one here for you. So Sir Robert, you know, he took it and he's like, fine, I'll do this. And he stomps off into number 50. So Robert was given the second floor room and armed with his pistol and a single candle. Now, why it was a single candle, I don't know. Why I couldn't just put the lights on, I don't know. Well, I do. It was 1840. But
to be fair,
one candle.
Well, none of this shit's going to help him out. Name one person who's ever successfully shot a ghost. Do you know what I'm saying?
Peter Venkman, Raymond Stantz, Egon Spengler, and Winston Zedley.
Bro, they'd be shooting with lasers. I'm talking straight up bullets.
Bullets.
Bullets. No one's ever taken a ghost down with a bullet. Fact.
True. But yeah, anyway, this was 1840. I don't think they had TikTok back then to educate them in how ghosts work. So, he had his pistol. Now, I'm thinking, 1840? You're going to want to be able to take that down in one shot, because I don't think the ghost's going to stand around while you reload and re-wad your pistol.
This is it. Being as the bullet's most likely just gone straight through and hit what was on the other side.
Depends what it's made of, Lee.
I guess.
Might have been blessed. You know what I mean? So anyway, it doesn't really matter. The man turned up with a pistol. A lent pistol. A borrowed pistol. Which, he thought was all part of the game. But shortly after midnight, the bell rang violently as if someone were yanking it in panic. Now, when we say bell, we're not on about doorbell or church bell. This will be like servant bells, like in Downton Abbey, like bedroom 2, tinkle tinkle, and then you go running up and change the teapot. So, yeah, apparently one of those was being tinkled, but not just tinkle tinkle. This was like in a panic, so it was tinkle 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 tinkle.
Ah,
Yeah,
panic
a lot
tinkles.
of it. Yeah, panic tinkles. And then the ringing stopped abruptly. Done. And then a single gunshot echoed through the house. So the landlord rushed upstairs, in response to the tinkle tinkle, and the gunshot, obviously. And he found Robert huddled in a corner with his face twisted into a mask of pure terror. So he looked scared, frightened, perturbed. Yeah. And his body lifeless, a pistol still clutched in his hand. So he was like, that screamy face.
Like on The Ring, when the sea
like in Indiana Jones. Yeah. Like in The Ring, yeah. So, which is a really disturbing way to find someone like mid-scream.
Hell yeah.
I mean, finding someone anyway would be quite disturbing, but when they're pulling a face, it's not as cool. When I say not as cool, I don't think it's cool in any way. But
It's
you
not
know
like,
what I mean.
I know what you mean. It's not like you're finding someone mid-wank or anything.
Actually, funny you should say that. I read a book by an author called Brian Keane. He did a series of zombie books. And the zombie, like the leader of these zombies was more of a demon, and he was like jumping into new bodies. And for some reason, one of the bodies he jumped into was a bodybuilder who died of a heart attack mid self-pollution.
No way.
So he was just wandering around like all ripped up and naked.
That's
So I don't even know why I needed to even mention that. And yes, I did read the book all the way through, and I read I think the 2 in the series as well.
I'm glad you did.
I've read some stuff. But yeah, anyway, he found this, so he's found him all twisted up in terror, dead, and gun clutched in his hand. So that was nasty. But there was no intruder or creature to be seen.
Damn.
Anywhere. Only a bullet hole in the wall showed where he'd fired at something unseen.
See? Went straight for the ghost, hit the wall. What'd I tell you?
Or he missed.
Maybe.
He was drunk.
True.
So hold your horses, right? Slow down, open your mind. Okay, so that was the first death attributed to the Nameless thing in Berkeley Square in 1840. So the next event was 34 years later in 1874. So at this time, the house was purchased by Mr. Myers, who intended to make it into a family home, make it respectable. So he was due to be married, and number 50 was meant to be the start of a new life. Now, we've seen this before in like the Amityville horror, Poltergeist. You know, people try and set up a new house, new life. In fact, not just those two films, pretty much every ghost film, I would say.
I would say a good proportion.
So yeah, anyway, this is what it was. I believe it happened to the Smurls. Anyway, guess what happened?
Go on.
His fiancée jilted him at the altar. But he didn't become a white lady.
Wow.
So, yeah, she jilted him at the altar and shattered his plans, leaving him devastated.
Oof.
And his behaviour went downhill from there pretty quickly. He became a recluse, like taking no visitors. He interacted only with a few trusted servants. Oh, poor guy. Still had his servants, though. And he slept in the attic during the day, locking himself inside. And at night, he wandered the house, shouting, muttering, or wailing, carrying only a candle. Now, that's all Sir Robert was given. So I'm wondering if there was some kind of taking over his body there. Kind of like Amityville.
Yeah. When he got possessed.
And it was the son's spirit that took over George Lutz.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's something like that. Anyway, that don't matter. It was just because he was carrying only a candle, but he'd walk around muttering, wailing. It just sounds like Leeds city centre, to be fair. And this nocturnal behaviour continued for years, and the house fell into disrepair. So it wasn't just like a week or so we were like this. He turned into a proper spice head for years. For years.
He must have really loved that broad.
He sounds to have been quite keen on her, but who knows? No diaries or personal writings survived, but if any existed, his family likely destroyed them because he probably brought shame on them. Bearing in mind, this was the 1840s. No, 1870s, sorry. So later events suggested his strange habits may have been a survival strategy. People think he did this because of the hauntings. Whatever haunted the house seemed to be only active at night, and Myers had been trying to avoid it or confront it. So maybe it was Sir Robert's essence filling him.
Fair play. Fair play.
What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, yeah, you wouldn't want to stick around for that, but maybe you just took it head on.
Okay, so next, that's the end of Mr. Myers there. So the next one we've got in 1872. This is whilst Myers was there. I believe I have a book by this guy, a ghost book. Lord George Littleton attended the house. Now, I'm absolutely sure he's popped up in a few of the ghost books. Like, I think in like Lord Halifax's book.
Yeah.
One of his books or whatever. I think he's a known ghost enthusiast. But in 1872, Lord George Littleton, or Lord Littleton, he visited the house either as a rare guest of Myers or out of personal fascination. So he was into that kind of thing. And he showed up saying, "Mate, let me in, I'm a lord. I've come to see what all the fuss is about." So he insisted on sleeping in the same room where Sir Robert Warboys had died. I wonder if the bullet hole was still in the wall at that point, because I like to think, I don't know if this is fact, but if I moved into a house where someone was shot, and there was a bullet hole in the wall, I'd be tempted to put a little frame around it. Make
I'd
it a
certainly
feature.
do that. That's a good idea. Like a glory hole of some sorts.
A gory hole.
Nice.
Thank you. But yeah, so anyway, there's no mention here. So, but he insists on staying in the very room. Now, personally, I'm not too sure if I'd do that. Maybe, I mean, if someone had died in the room, yeah, I'd stay in it, it's fine. But if I knew they're all like twisted up and like pulling freaky faces when they died, that'd play with me.
Yeah.
That'd play with me a little
Definitely.
bit, I reckon. So while lying in bed, he heard shuffling in the darkness. So he went to investigate, and he saw a grotesque shape emerging from the shadows. Now, when you've just got a candle to light your room, everywhere's a shadow. But it was a dark, amorphous mass, almost spherical. That sounds Smurly as well.
Yeah, 100%.
But it was covered in grasping, writhing tentacles.
Ooh.
So that's a Last Bus Home logo as well.
Oh, yeah.
But it was moving with unnatural, creeping intent. Now, there's ways of describing how something moves, but creeping intent, that makes it just very slightly menacing for me. So George had come prepared, not with a pistol. Boy brought a rifle.
Oof.
Oof.
Level up.
Yep. So as the creature advanced, he fired at it repeatedly. And despite the close range, the bullets passed through it or vanished into nothing. So there we go. When he searched the room afterwards, he found bullet holes in the walls, spent cartridges on the floor, and no trace of the creature. And his account added a new dimension to the legend. The entity was not just a ghost, but it was something physical yet untouchable, something that defied earthly explanation. So that was Lord Littleton's thing, and then that was it for a while until 1879. Now, this involves a Captain Kentfield. Okay. So in 1879, a Mayfair magazine published an article about another alleged incident at number 50. And a family living there prepared a room for their daughter's fiancé, Captain Kentfield. And the maid who was assigned to ready his room began screaming uncontrollably while trying to sort the room out. When the family found her, she was like huddled up on the floor, shaking violently and repeating, "Don't let it touch me." Now, she was taken to a hospital or an asylum after this and died the next afternoon, apparently from shock.
Seems to be they're seeing something pretty terrifying. That's
Maybe
what's finishing
something
them off.
amorphous with tentacles moving with creeping intent.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact something so horrifying, it's literally stopping the hearts on the spot.
So the family tried to postpone Captain Kentfield's visit, but he insisted on coming. He believed it was his duty to protect his fiance's home. So he rocks up. Anyway, that night when he turns up, the household was awakened by screams and gunshots. Captain Kentfield was found dead on the floor, and his face frozen in a grotesque expression of terror again. His death mirrored that of Sir Robert Warboys, strengthening the house's deadly reputation. And then things went quiet again, until 1887. By 1887, the house had been empty for years, locked and shuttered. So people learned. On Christmas Eve, sailors Edward Blunden and Robert Martin were on shore leave. After heavy drinking, they realised they had spent their lodging money. So guess what? Cold, exhausted and desperate, they wandered into Berkeley Square. Seeing a to let sign at number 50, they assumed it was vacant. They broke in through the basement window and chose a second floor room to sleep in. During the night, they were awakened by footsteps approaching their door. Expecting the owner, they prepared their excuses, and the door opened and something inhuman entered. A slimy, slithering, tentacled creature, far worse than any ghost story.
Holy shit.
Yeah. In panic, the men fled in different directions. Martin escaped and ran into the night for help. Blunden was trapped and the creature blocked his exit. Martin found a policeman and they returned to the house. They were too late. Blunden's body lay on the pavement below a broken window.
Man.
Different versions of the story claim that he fell onto iron railings. That would have been a movie moment there. Or he was found in the basement, torn apart. Regardless of the version, though, the outcome was the same. He was dead. Another death due to the thing of Berkeley Square. Now, before you start wondering, it's got nothing to do with H.P. Lovecraft, who uses very similar naming system for his own things. His stories were published until they weren't published until 1923.
Right.
So it's more likely that the nameless thing of Berkeley Square influenced him rather than these stories being influenced by him.
Cool. It's like definitely different to the usual white lady. Like, I'm kind of digging that it's got tentacles and it's some sort of like messed up creature.
Now that brings us to the end of the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. What are your thoughts, Lee?
I loved it. I love the fact it wasn't your standard white lady or grey lady or whatever BS we normally come up with. This was like an actual creature with tentacles and seen not just once. Do you know what I mean? So it's like multiple people are seeing this thing. Yeah. And also comes in line with the thing that they all died of, like shock and horror with that crazy look on the face, because that's probably what you would do if you saw a interdimensional, cosmic, Lovecraftian squid beast in front of you, as opposed to a grey lady. Yeah, if I saw a grey lady, I might just, have a little squeal, a little jog out the door. But if I'm seeing a squid thing, I'm dropping dead on the spot with a horrific look on my face.
So there's no reasoning with that.
Yeah, exactly.
No reasoning with tentacles. Yeah,
sends you loopy as soon as you see it, like the face of Medusa. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, well, short as this episode is, that brings us to the end.
Nice, mate. I enjoyed that one. So I will see you on the next one.
Okay, this is my stop. Ding, ding.
Goodbye.